Call to order the Finance and Personnel meeting of Tuesday, January 21st. Roll call, please, Aaron.
Kevin Schmidt,
Here.
John Ortlieb,
Here.
Midge Swedberg,
Here.
Wayne Schmidt,
Here.
Casey Boer,
Here.
Lee Dashlet,
Here.
Amy Johnson.
Here.
Thank you. Bring the meeting in compliance with the open meetings law.
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Looking for a motion to approve or make changes to the order of the agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Midge, second by Kevin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Everyone looked at the December 17th meeting minutes? There's no questions. Motion to approve
Motion to approve.
by Casey,
Second.
second by Wayne. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Did everyone have a chance to look at the bills? And are there any questions?
I just have one question. In regards to the quantum bill, the monthly charge has gone up quite a bit, and if you could explain why that is?
So the monthly charge for the managed IT services through Quantum went from $892 per month to $1,232. That is because we were awarded a cybersecurity grant from the Department of Homeland Security. It's for $27,000. It'll pay for 21 months of that service at the $1,200 rate. In order to be awarded that grant, we had to upgrade the services that we have. So that's why that bill is now more. I think we're 1 month into that higher rate. So that'll be the rate going forward.
When that's done, then are you gonna do you try to get another grant, or we're just gonna drop this
I think
year
we'll
back?
evaluate at that time, see if we're getting enough service out of that extra money, or, I mean, we can drop back down if we want to at that time too.
Will our service be much different if we're over there at that time? Will that change?
No, it should just transfer over.
Transfer over to there.
I've got a question for you, Jamie. What are the upgrade and services that we've gotten?
I don't have that in front of me. There's if I had an itemized list of their bill, there's like 14 different things, that's covered under that managed services contract. The real basic part of it, and maybe not basic, but the easy to understand part of it, is just remote IT support. But then there's services in there that all fall under the cybersecurity. There's a password keeper, multi-factor authentication, a whole bunch of acronyms that I don't fully understand, but Quantum's got us covered.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Or a motion to approve the bills?
So moved.
Moved by Lee,
Second.
second by Midge. Please, sir.
Kevin Schmidt,
Yes.
Dashlet,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes,
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Boer,
Yes.
Ortlieb,
Yes.
Swedberg.
Yes.
Thank you. I see nobody in the public, so I'm assuming no public comment. Old business? The fire and rescue building.
Yes, fire and rescue building, a little bit I touched on at the PPP meeting. REL is just about finished up with our new lot survey and how that site will, how it's gonna lay on that site. Jim from Bayland will be here tomorrow at 10 a.m. Myself, the chief, the mayor will be meeting and finalizing, or not finalizing, but kind of going through a couple of questions that the mayor has. And then we will be hoping to have a plan to everybody to look at for any other input to get ready to go to bid. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Is there an updated plan? I don't know, has everybody seen that? Has it changed since we originally saw it, or
It's changed 180 degrees.
what about the interior?
That has not really changed. After our meeting tomorrow, though, I will be getting a plan to everybody on the council to take a look at it.
And once we see that, then can we question something from that plan?
Most definitely.
Okay, before he goes out to bid?
Eh,
Or is he going out to bid after tomorrow?
I'd like to go out to bid, but if there's, I guess what questions,
Well, when I look at it, and this may not sound like it's a big deal, but I don't feel we need 5 bathrooms in that building.
that's one of the questions that's gonna be answered tomorrow.
So when I look at
And
that,
some of it is not, and this is one of the things that we're checking on, Wayne, the mayor has the same question.
okay,
It's, do we need 5 bathrooms, or do we have to have 5 bathrooms to meet square
Well,
footage of the building?
right.
So that's,
can they be relocated so you can utilize one in another area without having, when I saw the original plan, that one bathroom is way off to the other side. And the other thing that I'm still concerned about is I'm concerned about that second story. Do we need that? Can we get by with enough storage on the ground floor that, it's gonna cost us more when we go up. Anytime you build, if you put a second story on it, it has to cost you more. I'd like to know, is there a big savings by not doing a second? I don't know. But because once we go out to bid, he's gonna bid that, it's coming back, now you either accept or reject, correct?
correct.
So, I mean, before he goes out to bid, it's gonna be like when we get the discussion about the bank. You know, there's some questions I got there about that layout too. So I guess those are just a couple things, and I don't know if those are things that you can ask tomorrow, if you can take that to the meeting, or, but I mean, the 5 bathrooms just seems like that's way over spec.
I personally would prefer that would come back here before it goes up to bid.
I would like to see it come to finance, not council, because I don't want to be talking about a building in council when we should be talking about doing finance. That's what this finance committee is for. I have lots of questions on that, from the 2-story offices, I think could be 1 story.
I gotta just interrupt for a second. 2-story offices.
The offices are 24 feet tall, so that's 3 stories tall in that whole office building.
Okay,
There's no reason that office building couldn't be 9 or 10 feet tall, because we're gonna heat 24 feet.
okay,
The more the roof pitches down, okay, we'll heat 22 feet.
yeah,
I think that's a waste of money, we're representing the taxpayer, that whole office section, I'll call it the office.
Yep. go ahead.
And that I would like to see as a possibility of why it has to be the full 24 feet tall.
Okay.
Even the optics to the citizens when they see this is like, why are they building this great big tall building and heating this 2-3 stories office area? So I'd like to talk about that finance.
Okay.
Bathrooms, if they tell me we need 5, we need 5, we need 4, I don't care about that.
Okay.
The mezzanine's another thing. If I just as soon give you another 10 feet of flat space of concrete and have no mezzanine, that's just wasted space.
Okay.
So I think we should talk about, because we're representing the taxpayer.
No, I totally agree. The thing I'm gonna tell you that I do know is when we originally had this plan designed, and it was a fire department and a police department, and we had 2 different levels. We had the garage bays, and then it dropped down, and we had the office bays, and even the squad cars were under that shorter, because they didn't need the height. That building was more expensive to build 2 different levels than to keep it all one level, all one height.
And then are they building with wood studs? Are they building with steel studs?
I believe it's all steel studded structure, yeah.
So I think what Kevin's saying is that even though it's a little cheaper to go one way, it might be more expensive in the long run to try to heat that extra space. You're
In the
absolutely right.
long run, I built these buildings all the time. I have a background, I have an architecture degree, so I know what I'm talking about.
I'm not saying you don't.
So, I think as a council, we need to look at this whole thing and not just push it through and rubber stamp it. I think we need to analyze, it's not like we're building it tomorrow.
Okay.
In my mind, the Associated Bank should be top priority, because that's something we're gonna start this year. We need to get that talked about and decide on the library. So I think Bayland should put more effort in that, because we need to start tearing it out, getting it ready.
So are we not starting the fire station this year? Is that,
Do we have the whole money?
we don't, we're $1 million short.
Do we have the money for the Associated Bank?
Yes.
So what do you think we should start first? Probably what we have the money for, I would assume, right? Unless we're gonna borrow another $1 million. That's what I'm hearing.
We can't borrow another million.
So probably we should take our efforts and then concentrate on the bank, and then maybe you'll get grants, maybe you'll get townships.
And the reason I'm asking is because there's kind of a window that I'd like to see this get out to bid, but if we're not, if the council's telling me we're not in a hurry to get this out to bid, then it doesn't matter.
And I get it, you wanna get your bids for spring to get locked in
Mhm.
contractors, but if we don't have the money, where do you get the money we're short?
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm asking, where can we get the million?
Well, we're gonna talk about that later down the agenda here.
But we should at least talk about this.
It's worth a look. I mean, I don't think we should commit to not proceeding if it is a deal. Perhaps if let's say all the questions you have are answered and like, okay, there are justifications for whatever reasons, move forward on it. Like, there's no good reason to not move forward if everything is satisfied as far as your questions are, right? Heating this and that. So once we see that, I have no problem with us taking a look at it, but I wanna, pump the brakes on pumping the brakes here. Right, if we can move forward, why wouldn't we move forward, right?
But can Bayland do both at the same time and get us everything we need for both?
That's currently kind of the way he's working right
He's
now.
trying to do both at the same
Yeah.
time. But if it comes where he says, hey, I need to concentrate on one or the other, I would think the bank would be more priority because we have money for it.
Well, I think the easy thing right now is because of as far along as the fire station plan is. Theoretically, we took it off of site A and put it on site B and turned it around 180 degrees. So a lot of the nuts and bolts work was done. But if you're telling me different, then
I guess the only thing that concerns me is we're already this far. Before we even change the site, you change the site, you moved it 180 degrees. There should have been some involvement in this structure. So that if I could save some money, I'm looking to save, but I'm not gonna cut back where it's not feasible, where they can operate a safe department out of it. But I look at some of these things and I haven't sat down with a plan to tell you, but the 5 bathrooms just kind of jumped out at me because right now we've got a bathroom downstairs and 2 upstairs. And I know we're gonna have a separate area for rescue, they're gonna need their own shower and bathroom.
Yeah.
That was something that jumped out at me. And then when I talked to a few of my constituents, they asked me about the 2nd floor, and I said, well, for storage. Well, then when you look at the size of it, how much storage do we need?
A lot.
Well, I'm looking at what you're working with now, Tom, and I'm looking at what the size of that upstairs, that's huge. That is huge. So can we gain, if we add on the length of the building, 10 feet or whatever, can we gain storage without going up? Those are questions that people are asking. And, they all saw the building when we went and tried to go to referendum, which failed twice. They looked at building, some people say, well, you don't need it at all. The majority of people that I talk to are not in disagreement that we need a fire station. They're just asking some of these questions. What I hate is all of a sudden, your meeting tomorrow, he's going out to bid, you're coming back to us and saying, well, this is what we're bidding on. I went to the township meeting. We don't even know how we're coming up with that other $1 million yet. And, and that'll come up, I'm sure, in the conversations with you at another time.
Yeah.
But is there any way we can, instead of spending 4, can we spend 3.5? I don't know, Matt.
I don't disagree. That is my goal.
Yes, and it should be as the administrator. and it
If I
should
could
be as
spend
the
2.5, I would say I'm in favor of spending 2.5. But I'm also in favor of building a fire station that the chief is saying, this is what our needs are.
And I understand that, and I'm not disagreeing with that, but I'm asking some of these questions. Are we hampering the service that they offer? I don't think some of these things are gonna hamper the service that they give us. We need the space, we need the bays, we need, we need all that. I understand that. But then there's other things, material stuff inside, the meeting room. Is that meeting room over spec? I don't know.
Do we need 2,400 square foot meeting room is my first question. Does it need to be 3 stories tall? That's my second question. Can it be 10 feet? I don't know.
So is it that, because I'm hearing nobody has seen the plans.
I've seen the plan.
The
So
last
everybody's seen the
last time I
plans.
saw the plans was when we, that's why I asked if we were meeting as a group again.
Okay.
Because a couple of the members on there asked me the same thing, and that's why I posed the question to the mayor. But it's too late for that group to get together if you're meeting with Jim, tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
And so, I don't know what questions you have, I kind of wish you'd interject here. It looks like I'm the only one that's, I'm not against the fire station.
My
I'm not
questions
against it
are
either,
this.
but for the taxpayer, we can't spend money we don't have.
I have questions of why our rooms so big. I also have questions of why are rooms so small. There's a couple spots where I think they've been slated. In my opinion, and I've said it many times, I don't think we're to the bid stage yet because I wanted people to look at the print.
Okay.
So that's why the meeting tomorrow.
Mhm.
I have a lot of questions. I don't know if they're all gonna get answered. I don't want to design it. So where are we gonna end up going?
So is the consensus that we meet tomorrow and then bring it back to here a month from now? Is that the plan?
I would like to see some kind of designs, a hard copy that's maybe this big, packet that we can see, that's not on a little digital film like I had, that we can talk about it next finance.
Isn't this, the plan is essentially the same?
It
You've
is.
seen this plan
The
before.
plan has not changed one
Like-
bit, but for the
But for
bathrooms,
the questions that all of us
Sure, but why
have-
are these questions coming up at this late minute? We've been.
Because we never had input before.
Why didn't
It's that
you-
committee, that committee
You
decided
have the ability, you
everything.
have their ears when you want, you can say what you can
Nobody
ask.
listened to the council before.
You can ask
whatever the
questions.
committee did.
Okay, guys, don't.
And we never had plans that we can talk about at a finance meeting and it's just brainstorm. We can't just keep spending because we can spend 4 million, let's go spend 4 million.
I think you're misrepresenting the time frame here though. And, I mean, if you wanna look at it, if that's the consensus, that's the consensus. I don't have a problem assessing it to make sure that we're getting the best value out of a station that hopefully will last us 50, 75 years. Because we're thinking, we're not building this for next year only, we're building it for a generation, a couple
So
generations.
that building should last more than 15 years.
Whatever the case may be, but the thing is that like, all of a sudden, it's like, this is a surprise that this type is this, and this extra bathroom, and all these things. It's fine to ask those questions, But again-
We have the police department in here now, we're not. So, I
but
mean, we
in the
made
sec,
some
in the
changes.
second referendum, we didn't, like, it was pared down per the requests. The feedback of the first failed referendum, it was pared down to accommodate solely the fire station, and it was concluded to be this kind of thing based on the space requirements, based on the committee that you're talking about, Wayne. I guess I just don't understand, this isn't new. Like, these questions could have been asked during the whole process.
We've been asking these questions. but
Who
we
on
never
this
got-
council okayed that print?
I never okayed it.
We saw it and we knew that was,
That's not my
right.
question. Who
Yeah.
okayed it? That's what they're asking to do, okay, the print.
that's fine. I don't have a problem with it, but like, it's like we're gonna relitigate the entire process
Well, if-
because we didn't take the time to ask the questions, earlier. And again, if that's,
We never had a chance or because we didn't have money to do anything. We never okayed to spend 3 million before. We were just hoping in dreams that we'd come up with money for this, and now we budgeted 3 million. We're still $1 million short. If we can come in at 3.5, 3.75, that saves the taxpayer money. That should be our job, is to get the best building possible for the money we have.
I'm not disagreeing, Kevin, I'm just saying
Technically, our
that.
budget is 3 million, because that's all we have right now. We can't obviously cut to 3 million, that'd be too small of a bill.
Unless the extra bathroom is $1 million bathroom.
That's not realistic.
Casey, have you seen the print?
Or we had seen the plan early on. Yeah.
So you're good with it?
Well, I'm confident that the work of the commission and the needs of the fire department, all the conversations that have been happening, the reason why we had those things. So I'm confident that what we have and how they're proceeding is good. I mean, you're doing your diligence to your constituents, fine. That's not the issue, but I would be content.
I'm not, so,
Yeah, no,
and I wasn't part of it, I wasn't the mayor. And that's nobody's fault that I didn't see that print, I'm not saying that it is. But I do have questions that I never had a chance to ask.
yeah, no, question.
Well, I look, maybe some feedback from you tomorrow after you meet. I mean, maybe you've got the same questions that were kind of thrown out tonight. I don't wanna hold this back. But the other thing, I think I kind of agree with Kevin, if we got the money for that bank building, we gotta concentrate on that bank building. Because if we push this back and it's done in 26 or 25 or 26, we have a station right now that we can utilize.
Mhm.
If you're gonna pull out of here and you're gonna move over there's gonna be a lot of questions about room, the library, all this kind of stuff. The police department, is there gonna be enough room for them over there? So, I hopefully you echo the same questions that you've heard
Every
today.
question that you asked, I have on a sheet of paper in my office,
All
so
right.
I
Then
will
I'll-
touch on every one of those.
I'll leave it up to your
Questions, and I have
discretion
more.
to come back and tell me then if you're okay with it.
I mean, I agree with I agree with Kevin. I mean, it's our job to get the best money for the buck that we can, the most building that we can for the dollar, for the taxpayers. They're the ones who have to fund this, and I think that they have elected us to do just that. And I don't wanna pass that over because I did see plans, but we never got to vote on them or do anything with them, or to say, geez, I think this is, you know, a Taj Mahal, or I think this is, maybe we could add a little bit more because we can use it in the future. I don't know.
I will clarify, it's not only the design of the building. If you look at that print, there's no heating on the print, there's no lighting on the print. I don't know if we're doing ADA compatible, ADA compliant, or different. None of that's on the print. So I have a,
I guess the question, and I have not a problem bringing that back here next month, okay? One of my concerns is the bid thing, but that is what it is, okay? We can tear every piece apart, inside, outside, upside down, turn the building around, turn it upside down. Until we go out to get a bid, we never know what that number is.
We understand that.
That's why I'm saying, let's get it out to bid.
But my question to you then, are we bidding what we've got right now? Because when that comes back, then now do we make a decision where we wanna start cutting on that bid?
Well, I think now you have a true number in front of you to say it's $3.5 million.
No, but I mean, is that bid coming back? We don't do the mezzanine.
Yep.
Will I know how much I'm saving?
Well, you'll have an itemized bid list.
Okay.
So you'll know what it costs to put that in.
Okay. Then-
So now to say, let's cut this off,
Yeah.
we don't know, why would we cut that off if it ended up costing
Well, that's my question.
$11,000 more?
That's my question. If you can tell me that you're gonna go out to bid.
And have
when
an
it comes
itemized
back,
bid
and It's
sheet.
gonna come back, because now I never thought about the heating. Is it in-floor heat?
No, there's not in-floor heat.
It's forced.
That was the thing that we scratched a year ago because of the cost of it.
But is there an advantage to in-floor heat over a long run versus forced air heat? You know what
So
I'm
we
saying?
kind of went through a whole scenario. There is an advantage, but because of the amount of garage doors, the makeup time, it takes the advantage away.
Then I'm okay with going and bid it if we have a chance. Well, after you have your meeting tomorrow.
I'll have my meeting tomorrow, you guys can decide
So-
whatever you want, I don't want to stand in the way, but be prepared to then tear it apart. And when I talk to Jim, he would rather bid than we want to build. That's what I'm doing.
I agree with that. And if I agree, what the fire chief wants to build is what we're gonna bid. I don't have a problem just willy-nilly putting out $1 million building and saying, well, it's too expensive, now we're gonna vote it down. At the end of the day, though, if we don't know what anything costs, you know, but we could put together a $1 million building and say, well, it came back at $1.1 million, then are we gonna tell them, well, we don't accept this because we want a $3 million building? And we're looking at it the other way around to say, they told us an estimation of $4 million. Until it goes out to bid, what is that real number? Is it 4.2? Is it 3.7?
I thought it was 3.6.
Yeah, and then whatever the number is,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter, but
That's
even if he
fair,
comes
yeah.
back at 3.5, and it should change, that doesn't mean we won't change.
Well, the council already went on with the budget and we designated $3 million towards the fire station.
Yeah,
And all 8
Correct.
people on council voted for that. So they're all in favor of that. Even though we the voters said. The voters told us twice they didn't want to build that fire station.
No,
Not that
they didn't.
send them- So we did, as a council, we said, no, we're in favor of building the fire station. These aren't questions that I think are out of line.
I don't think they are either. I think they're all fantastic questions. The problem that I think is not out of line either. We can sit here, like I said, and everything we move over and take off, we don't know what that price is until we physically have an itemized bid sheet. Does that make sense to what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It's like building a house.
He ought to know approximately, I don't, maybe not down to the nickel, but he ought to know
That's
that
what
this
we
is
have.
$20,000.
We have that.
to eliminate a bathroom.
John, we have that. This building is gonna cost $4 million. We have that. But now, if we're gonna take off the whole upstairs of the office building, how do we know what that price is? If we drop down 12 feet, how do we know what that price is?
quality contractor, he may not know to the penny, but he ought to know approximately what it's gonna cost to build that thing.
And I'm gonna agree with Kevin, I don't build buildings, so these are the questions that I have. Until I have an itemized scheduled bid sheet, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, to be honest though, the only way we're gonna know the cost of Kevin's proposal is if he bids it twice, with it high, with it low. Is that what we're gonna ask him? When he builds us a 24-foot building all the way across, we won't know what it saves us to take off 14 feet off the first 16 feet.
You're gonna have a square footage of your building price.
Yeah.
So you're gonna deduct X amount of square feet from your
We're
building.
not deducting square footage, we're deducting cubic feet.
Well, I mean, in a roundabout way, you're gonna get that number, right?
If that's in there, I'm all good with that, but I don't know that.
Or like-
And it's, I think, a good question for tomorrow.
Sure.
How is that broke down? Because obviously, you can build a lot of garage space for a cheaper square footage of what that office square space is gonna be.
So like on the garage doors, are those 16-foot tall doors or 14-foot? What's the height?
I believe they're 16 foot.
So 16, and we're going to 24?
Yeah.
Then cut down to 20 for the season height. 4 feet is 4 feet.
I think you have to maintain your,
I know, your pitch is a pitch from the front, you're 24 in the front, you're 22 in the back. So that's my other question.
I don't know, can you span 2 feet over the length of that building?
I don't know.
I don't think
What's
you would meet the,
75 feet
That's what they
long?
have.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's
why.
what the span.
it's 2 feet now.
It's 2 feet now, and
Okay.
one of my questions is why is it not a pitched roof where we could gain a foot on each side? If that pitch is good, which is 6 inches per 12 feet is what they've got on there.
Okay.
Could it be less if we did a pitched roof instead of one way and gain height and drop wall?
That's what I'm thinking.
So questions like that.
You got a question?
Sorry, you have something?
these are all done down here. This print now, and I didn't look at it really that close, but the question is that including everything like where your bunker gear is gonna be, you know, the racks, I'm sure you're gonna use ready rack. There are, you know, I mean, is that
There
all
are
in there? So that,
incidentals that were included in
you know,
that. because he did
furniture
some-
and vice versa, because all of a sudden, don't do like one station company, I know that, they
Built
got
a
the
new
building,
station.
and then all of a sudden, they didn't have the money to put furniture in it, and then they were, you know, it kinda, it's something that happens. I mean,
Yeah.
You're busy with trying everything and forget about the obvious.
Yeah, no, there is a whole schedule of what is included in that estimated number and what is not
They
included.
said, I don't remember, I saw the print, but I don't remember if that was or not.
All right.
So is the consensus then to bring it back here next month?
I prefer it.
Okay,
After you go out to bid or before?
before, that's what I'd bring it back before we go up to bid next
We
month.
have answers to our questions.
That's-
Or is it okay if Jim says, I'll bid it, and you guys can pick it apart later, then would it be better to take it out to bid now? Say he comes back here and they decide to change something, he's okay with that?
Well,
Let's ask him that tomorrow.
yeah, and I think that's a question,
Right, because then.
because we can
Get through your
move
bid process.
15% up and 15% down without rebidding any.
Right.
I'm afraid it's
statute.
gonna be like the jail though, where all of a sudden.
Well, I don't wanna
it's
get so
40
far down the
million,
road that
like,
we
now gotta
feel
cut.
obligated.
You know, then we gotta cut in these contracts, like, okay, we knew we can't spend 40 million, and now we're.
We don't have to bid it, I just thought I'd throw it.
Whatever, I guess, whatever you think, because you're going there and asking all the questions.
I won't know till I get done with
Well,
the
you
meeting
build.
tomorrow.
You're a builder. I
Your
mean, those are
building-
building questions.
Building residential is not much different than commercial, it's
No.
different, you know.
I have a lot of questions, but I won't know.
Yeah, except for that.
Okay, I'm fine with that.
Amy, do you have any questions?
No, I do not. I thought it was just fascinating listening to how we're going to try to get this built. I'm all for getting it built. I say we just go for it. That's my opinion.
Okay. Anything else? We don't need anything in that, correct, Matt?
No, that's more or less just informational, and we'll continue to, like I said, keep this placeholder on there.
Enjoy.
So then the next one would be the administration building.
Yes, so we talked briefly about this. We're supposed to have a plan from Bayland tomorrow of existing building, of what it's going to look like, walls. Jim is bringing that along to the same meeting tomorrow. Chris, their architect, will be here. I am hoping by midday, tomorrow, pending on how this wraps up with the fire department, to get that emailed out to the whole council and have that on the agenda to start looking at, pros and cons, what we like, what we don't like, and start kind of chewing that apart. So,
Is that plan including adding on the second floor to give the library more room?
it will.
But we won't know what that cost is.
No, we won't until we go out to bid, but I think because we're looking at that in two different ways, right? I think we know enough about what we want and what we don't want over there, that we could bid that all out, and that addition would all be an alternate.
Where's the police department in that layout?
Main floor, kind of come in the front doors towards the back of the building.
And that's enough room for evidence and all that kind of stuff? And the council chambers is in the basement? Is that the way?
If the library would go over there, the council chambers would go in the basement.
So then the police department's evidence, armory, interview interrogation room, where's all that stuff?
Main floor,
All on.
yep, all
Where's
in
all the, your office?
main floor.
There's enough room for all.
Yeah.
Evidence is going main floor too.
It depends on if we would build, if the library was going over there in that addition, then evidence would go kind of towards the back of the garages to the east.
Yeah.
If we put the addition on upstairs. If it wouldn't, evidence would probably go down in the basement. It would open up some more space. But if the library wasn't going over there, then council chambers would probably go upstairs. Downstairs wouldn't be a whole lot of anything done at all. Very little done downstairs.
Will the print tomorrow be just of the proposed addition?
It'd be the whole building.
But my point would be, say the library doesn't go over there. Are we gonna touch on that tomorrow at all?
We're gonna touch on that tomorrow, what it looks like. We don't put this on, we don't put that on. I'm assuming we're still gonna talk about enclosing the drive-through for garage bays regardless.
I just wanted them to have
Yep.
that information.
And then you'll send us kind of like.
I mean, this isn't like we're ready to put this out to bid. This is in the very infancy stages of where this goes.
Well then, if you say whether the library goes over there or not, what does it take for the library to stay here? A new heating system, air conditioning?
That's all, so if the library is going over there and we have to put this addition on, right? That bid comes back at X.
Right.
That's where the councils, we're gonna have to sit down and talk about how much are we gonna put in there versus do we put a heating system in over here? Does that make sense?
Yes.
What are the pros and cons?
Right.
We talked to you early,
500,000 to put an addition on when you can spend 100,000 to put in a.
Or whatever, yeah.
Yeah.
you know, all of a sudden we get this number back and to put this addition on is $1 million. We talked about spending 600,000 on the whole project,
Yeah,
right? Now this just addition is $1 million. Well, we can put a heating and cooling system in here, let's just say for 150,000 just in the library,
right.
or whatever that number is. Those are some of the things that we need to talk through.
But then we also have to move your electrical service, your gas service, that all has to be brought over there.
That is well, that's correct. Yeah, I mean, it's,
Costs too.
exactly.
It'd be like an addition you'd have to put on to put all the, like a, your mechanical.
You're gonna have
room or
mechanical.
Yep.
Mechanical.
No, everything comes from this back mechanical, your electricity, your gas, and you'd have to move everything from the outside.
Everything comes from the west end of the building and goes all the way
This
east.
building is over.
It'll be a great conversation to have once we get there.
So does anybody else have any questions about that? Okay.
You can assume all we want. All right, and then you can keep right on going, Matt, if you like, or Jamie, I don't know who's gonna address this group.
Jamie, go ahead, take a swing at it.
All right, there's a memo in your packet regarding the public fire protection fees. Based on a vote at the December 17th meeting, you wanted us to do a little bit more research. So Matt and I went over to the utilities, talked to Pete and Nancy a little bit about this. We tried to keep it as brief as possible with still answering your questions. I think you, at that time, you were looking kind of for a ballpark number on what that cost would be on a monthly utility bill. On the first page of your memo, there's a chart there. These are not exact numbers, they will change. If you decide to move forward, you would have to, they'd have to go to the PSC and get new rates. These rates are the ones that they received, mid-2023 when you talked about this last. And then kind of on the second page of that, talking through who would be billed for it, why we would possibly consider making the change. Do you want me to go through all of that individually, or did everybody review this another time? You want me to review it?
I'm answering the second question that I
Okay.
read ahead of time.
Got it. So feel free to ask questions. I guess I'll just kind of sum it up with, staff's recommendation at this point would be to not pursue doing this, and rather save the opportunity for a time when we need the money.
Question I have is, Jamie, is if you take the 486 off our tax roll.
Yeah.
Not paying, we're paying it on users. You don't spend that money, people are gonna get their taxes reduced by X amount of dollars. How much a reduction per thousand would they get
That is
to equal
the
is?
third reason we would use it for. Like, I would never recommend, like, why,
so we're not
what's the point in
saving.
doing it then?
Well, then we're not saving, we're actually charging them more than.
Here's the thing, so at the $21, we would charge everybody $250
Right.
a year that they would pay every month.
But our taxes aren't going down because you're gonna take this
Well-
450 and spend it on something else, on roads or whatever.
Even if you don't spend it, right? The way taxes work, so some people are gonna pay $250 and they're gonna save $3 on their taxes. And the people that have a $500,000 house are gonna save $800 on their taxes. So you're taking from some, but you're not equally giving it back to them. Does that make sense?
And wouldn't it also be bad, if I'm not mistaken, that money, we take it off the tax roll, but we don't get all the taxes, it gets split up in different pockets, so we actually lose money? Would that be a fair
No.
assessment or not?
No, that
Because
would not
be
on this
only
case.
off of the city's tax roll.
Yes, this would only be on the city's tax roll.
I think based on that question, I would like to just kind of in the middle of the second page, there's a header that says, what would the city do with the money that's collected from taxes? Kind of go through that because this is the same prioritization that was recommended 2 years ago when it was talked about, and I think the time before. First use of the money would be to balance the general fund budget if needed. Second use of the money would be to put additional money in the capital projects fund, which in turn could reduce the taxes long term. Because hopefully you'd be, like, if you had the opportunity to put $500,000, or if we do this 5 years from now, $600,000 into that capital projects fund every year, you should be able to decrease your borrowing going forward. And finally, like, if you do it at that point and you're like, we're doing really well, we don't need to put $500,000 a year into capital projects, then I would recommend maybe reducing the tax levy. But if you're gonna make this change now, just to lower the taxes, I feel like you're kind of biting yourself in the butt from using this for an opportunity like when you have to have it. Because if you use it now and you lower the taxes, then our expenditure restraint drops back down and you never have that opportunity to recoup that money.
And you're recommending not to.
And
At this point, no.
And you're also stopping this money in time. So if it's at $500,000 right now, which I think it's just below that, right? If we take it today, it stops in time. And the bill from the utilities will keep going up. Let's say the bill goes up to $550 or $600 over the course of the next 10 years. We don't get that additional money. We still get that $500. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you only get it one time.
No, we get it we never have to pay it again every year. So it's not only one time, we continue to every year have that money, right? But we don't get whatever it goes up, we don't get any of that.
No, but the consumer picks up the difference.
That is correct. Yes, so your $21 bill in 5 years could go to $27, right?
Or 40.
We don't get any of that, the utilities gets that.
So there's not enough with the non-for-profits to offset basically generating any additional.
No, we talked about that with them, and we feel like it's pretty much a wash. Like, you'd be picking up the churches and the schools, but then you'd be adding that charge onto every bill that is, paid for by the city and the utilities. And you're basically collecting as much from those nonprofits as you are from us. So we're paying the same amount.
So we pay it either way.
We paid either way,
Yeah.
yeah, but we don't feel like it's not 100 properties that we'd be adding.
Okay. Well, it's worth looking at, so you did your due diligence, so you're saying you just leave it the way it is. That's your recommendation?
Yeah.
At this time.
Reevaluate in a few years, or if we think that there's a point where we're getting to a point where we need to recommend it, then I think staff could come to you and say, oh, I think it's time to look at it. But at this
It's
time,
not
I
a
don't
bad
think
thing
we're
to
there.
have in your pocket, and it's
No.
also not
Well,
bad not to tie ourselves into
other
that number.
communities, I don't know why Kiwanee did it, probably because they needed.
I think one of the big things is to look at it down the road at our next borrow. What are interest rates at our next borrow? You know,
2 years.
we have this in our pocket, or interest rates are X, right? Maybe they're 3%, maybe they're 7%, we don't know. I think that's, at our next borrowing is a time that, we have a year out, this could be an option.
Jim would be able to tell you, the domes.
Yeah.
In the 3 years when it comes time to borrow again, so.
This is off of this though, and just cut me off if you don't want to answer it. That 4 million that we've got that we're investing.
Yeah.
What we're getting in interest is covering our payment rate.
What we are making in interest, our first year payment is very small. It's being offset by premiums that the people paid when they bought the bond. And then it's also being offset by interest earnings. Right now, we've got that $4 million in a separate account at our investment company, and we're making about $15,000 a month in interest. So I think we'll be a little bit ahead of what they projected when we took it out on interest earnings.
And remember, you also have the premiums from the barn market that is helping offset that first year's payment.
When you borrow 4 million, it's easier to sell bonds on $4 million than it's going to be to sell them on $1 million. If we get
A $1 million bond is really tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough sell. A lot of people don't wanna throw their foot in the water on a $1 million bond.
Okay. All right. I'm good with that. They did their work.
Any other conversation? You don't need anything on that as well?
Do you wanna just put it in the form of a motion that at this time we're gonna, yeah,
Or just table it.
table it?
Table it.
2026.
Second.
Motion by Kevin and second by Casey, table it,
Yeah.
correct? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carries. Then the new business, mayor and council wages.
You wanna do first, Joe?
Go ahead.
Okay, there's a memo in your packet on this as well, including history of mayor and council pay increases kind of over the last 10 years. It looks like an increase was adopted in 2017 and 2020. Each of those times, it was a $25 per month increase for council members and a $50 per month increase for the mayor. Just keeping in mind that if you would decide to move forward with the recommended pay adjustment here, none of you technically will receive that. You need to be re-elected into your position to get the increased pay.
So after April, we'll be picking up this
Yeah,
payment. So
if
this
you're-
is a good time to.
Yeah, now would be a
action.
good time to do it. The pay increases would go into effect after this April election for the 4 council members that are elected, and then in April 2026 for the mayor and the 4 council members that are elected then.
Okay, I think we ought to increase wages. I think we want to attract people to actually spend some time and do this.
Yeah. So survey kind of neighboring municipalities is listed there, as well as some municipalities that employees have left to go work for. And then And then,
You're laughing, we're laughing with you, not at you.
You work at so many different places.
I know.
I'm quite sure what you're comparing.
Rivers, the mayor doesn't get paid.
there is no mayor.
They don't have a mayor.
No.
That's why they don't get paid in Two Rivers.
So staff recommendation at this time would be a $50 increase monthly for council members and a $75 increase monthly for the mayor. For 2025, it would have an impact to the budget of $1,600. 2026, we'd be budgeting $5,700 over what we're budgeting today.
Is it $50 for the mayor and $25 for councilman?
Nope, $50 for council members, $75 for the mayor. So it would be $600 extra per year for a council member,
If we
$900
doubled
extra.
that, it would be 32,000.
3,200, 3,200,
And 10,000 the following year, correct?
Yeah.
yes,
11.
11,000.
Yeah,
So to get substantial.
it doesn't look like too much of an increase for 2025. 2026, I mean, when you're increasing a $30,000 budget by $6,000, that's
Big percentage.
25%,
Yeah.
20%.
So we look at the overall picture.
Compared to $4 million for a fire station, that's cheap.
I believe, and I can tell you that we went down this road a couple times, and that first time wasn't for it. And then after some consideration and seeing who ran for council, no offense to anybody, including the mayor's position, nobody runs, maybe this will help.
That's why I'm saying
So
we should raise
that's
it
why
down
we
to
kind of
$100.
revisit
I don't,
Council $100 a month and you would.
Well, that, the numbers they just came up with so that you'd have some numbers. This is all up to you.
I didn't take the position because I wanted to get a big salary. I'm not in favor of raising it. I've been out here long enough. I've seen it raised a couple times. It's enough for it.
I don't see what.
Maybe the
what
mayor
happened.
should get more.
So,
It's a lot more time. You can go wherever you need if you want to.
So can you.
I guess I could if I wanted to.
No, I'm in favor of raising it.
me too.
And those amounts they gave us, I'm happy with the amounts that they put in there.
I would like to point just one thing out, just because of what Kevin's comment just was. When this goes for like final vote, like if you approve it here we put it on February's council meeting for, a resolution to approve. In order to pass it, it's a 3/4 vote that's required.
Yes, not just the majority.
Just since we have one that's not sure what that would be doing is to share.
Just a quick point, like when we were trying to get a gator for the marina, right? We tasked our public works manager at the time to get, save $600 or something like that. So we're trying to pinch these little pennies, but now it's like, well, long term, we have some ramifications. I think that if we raise this by an extra $600 a year, it's gonna attract people. I don't think that's gonna be the carrot that gets people in. I don't think people do it for dollars. I think it's appropriate to consider, yes, compared to a $4 million fire station, it's a very pittance. But compared to other things we quibble over, $5,000 for KCEDC, we'll spend extensive time talking about it, saving a few $100s on equipment, we'll spend extensive time on it. But now it's just like, well, sure, I think we should. I don't think it's necessary. I'd echo Kevin's consideration. I don't think it's going to attract more people. If it did, I think it would be wonderful. I think more people should. I would love to see every election cycle, every one of these seats have an opposition. Everybody should have to speak to their positions and why they have them. Again, I don't know, but y'all have your own considerations. I don't think it's necessary, and I don't see the upside or the purpose on it.
Well, I think everybody's time is worth something.
I do too.
And, whether or not that's good to make people run for these positions, that I don't know. But it's still time. Now, maybe you only come to one meeting, or maybe you only come to 2 meetings a month, but there's other times that you're involved in stuff that takes you time. And everybody else seems to get a raise. We got no problem, we adjusted the rescue squad, and that's great. We adjusted the fire department, instead of the 4%, we gave them a raise. Nobody had a problem with that. I think that these people that sit on this council, especially the mayor, should get a raise. And you can argue all day long, well, it's only $5,000 or whatever you're saying it is. But it still means something, I think, to the people that are sitting here. I mean, and like when we look at the raises, the mayor spends a lot of time. I don't know, I'm sure he does. I can tell you from when I was mayor, you could spend a lot of time here. You got meetings, you got stuff, and the mayor should be making more than some of the other positions that we got part-time.
I'm not objecting against the mayor, I just don't think right now the council needs a raise.
Well, it's because you're not gonna get it. That's the only reason you're not in favor of it. If you were gonna get it, you would be in favor of it.
You'll get it the
You get
following
it
year.
the following
Yeah, you get it the following year. No, I think time is worth something. I agree. And so I guess I would like to see that increase and pass it. I guess the only way we're gonna find out is we're gonna have to go around the room and say yea or nay.
Well, you can make a motion, and if it gets
I'll make
voted
a
down here, it dies here. If it-
Motion is for the raise of the numbers that were presented.
The $50.
And I'll second.
What were the numbers again?
50 for the council and 75 for the mayor per month. That's what we presented.
For that, we need a second.
Fine.
And we take a vote.
Kevin Schmidt,
No.
Midge Swedberg,
No.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Amy Johnson,
Yes.
Casey Boer,
No.
John Ortlieb,
Yes.
Lee Dashlet.
No.
Fix.
It fails, sorry.
Motion does not pass, correct?
That is
Correct, motion fails.
Now, can I make a motion that we just adjust the mayor's wages?
You still choose to do that? You can.
I would like to see the mayor's wages, since he puts in so much time. I would like to see the mayor's wages go to the 75.
I'll second that.
To how much?
75 more a month, that doesn't fit this much.
That's what the proposal is, just minus the,
And to be clear,
Yeah.
whether it's me or the next mayor, it's after the election.
that is
So
correct.
you're aware.
Wouldn't take place until a year from this.
Can I say something? I didn't get a chance to the last time. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, so yesterday was Dr. Martin Luther King Day, which is a day of service. And I look at my role and what I do in the community as my service. So I'm a little disappointed that, as I agree, all the work and time that we put into it, that we weren't acknowledged with the extra for the council members. Going forward, I do hope that we consider doing something for the mayor. Our service is to our community. It takes time, not just coming to meetings, but doing reading. Casey, all the legwork that you did for that unicycle, going and talking to the policemen, you did that on your own time. That was your service. I know you may not agree with getting that little stipend, but I do agree with what John and Wayne said. It's an acknowledgement of your time and the effort that you put in. And I hope everyone reads everything that's put in front of them and goes to all of the committee meetings and takes an actual interest in what we're doing. Otherwise, you wouldn't have run. So I'm hoping that we can, I would like to go back and actually amend that other one, but I don't know if I'd have a second. I wish we would have approved both of them. I just think it's a nice little way, and I love what Midge does. She turns around and uses her stipend and gives it back to the community. She goes shopping and spends it. So that's what we should be doing, is taking that money and giving it back to our community.
Could have spent it on the community.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Is that all?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I have a motion on the floor from Kevin, correct?
That is correct, and a second by Mitch.
Oh, I didn't know I had a second.
Yes.
Thank you. Roll call, and that's just for the mayor's.
$75,
That is correct.
which you won't get for a year.
Correct. Roll call, please.
Johnson,
Yes.
Dashlet,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt,
Yes.
Swedberg,
Yes.
Boer,
No.
Ortlieb.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, and then the next thing would be the animal shelter services.
Yes, so this is in the council packet, everybody, if they had a chance to take a look at it. This did go to our city corp council and also to the chief of police. There is no issue with this. I think the couple council members that did have a question is, we were told we're not gonna spend any money on this. This asked for $1,500, okay? The Cause for Paws will pay this to the city. And then the city in turn will pay the Wisconsin Humane Society the $1,500. So theoretically, we're getting it, we're the bridge. The Cause for Paws can't belong to the Wisconsin Humane Society, the city of Algoma can. We're the bridge more or less that are taking the money that they talked to, they came in and talked to everybody, I think at the last finance and personnel meeting. They will be fronting the city that $1,500 and in turn we will be paying. So if you're reading the contract, it looks like for $1,500, yes, you are correct, it does. The money is coming from that. So.
Legal looked at it, everything.
Legal looked at it, he has no problems with it. This is something, I don't see anything bad, the chief of police, I think sees probably more pros to it than anything. I think it's pretty simple.
Yeah. In my opinion, it would be worth us paying the $1,500 for what they are willing to do for us, but I believe it's a great contract.
I'd make a motion to go forward.
Second.
Motion from Casey and second from Mitch. Do I need to roll call on that? You should do a roll call. Do roll call?
Swedberg,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt,
Yes.
Dashlet,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Core,
Yes.
Ortlieb.
Yes. Thank you. Any agenda items for the next meeting for Jamie, Matt, Aaron, or myself? Next meeting to be determined. Do you want to address that?
Yes, there is an election on the 18th next month, a primary election. So we're kind of putting it out there, the 17th or the 19th. We would prefer to meet on the 19th, which would be Wednesday, at the same time, at the same location here. Instead of Tuesday, we'd meet the day after.
Utilities meeting. Right, third Wednesday's utilities at 5:30.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, because of short month, it doesn't seem right, but yes, you are correct, Mitch.
Can't do it Monday, so.
Well, we can, just, a fairly
Okay.
simple agenda, or election, so we could do, meet on Monday, the 16th, sorry, the 17th. Everybody,
Keep in mind, Eid and the Public Works would go to that Monday.
we would change Public Works to that Monday as well.
Okay.
Right now, we left it kind of open-ended at
I
Public
knew
Works.
that all along, and that's why I looked at that.
Yeah.
And our library meeting usually doesn't go longer than an hour anyway, so.
Yeah, you would have library on Monday, which should be over in 40 minutes, that you could be here for 5 o'clock.
That works for everyone?
17th is a go for everybody?
Yeah.
17th it'll be. Thank you, Mitch, for stating that. That's one thing we look past.
That's not gonna be a short meeting, just because you're gonna have those fire departments on.
Yeah, well, no, it's gonna be a long meeting. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
kind of tight for the election to get set up for that, that's really.
yeah. I mean, there still is an election early start the next morning, so, yeah.
Still good?
Mhm.
Okay. So next meeting, Monday, February 17th at 5. And now I'd look for a motion to go into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 1985, section 1, subsection E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, investing in public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. We'll discuss 1515 Sunset Avenue and considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employer over which a governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, administrator, clerk, and treasurer positions. Motion from John,
Second.
second from Mitch. Roll call for that?
Ortlieb,
Yes.
Dashlet,
Yes.
Swedberg,
Yes.
Wark,
Yes.
Wayne Schmidt,
Yes.
Kevin Schmidt, Amy Johnson.
Yes,
Okay, it's gonna take a little bit. Amy, we're gonna take you off of Zoom here. And
okay.
then we have to start a second meeting, and then Amy will come back